Well, welcome to Corporate Travel Management Stadium for this National Premier League's Queensland clash between Brisbane City and Brisbane Strikers. Something of a northern suburbs derby, this one. Perry Park just a couple of k's down the road from our position here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. Should have a very interesting game on our hands, although history has not been kind to Brisbane City, the hosts in this game. They've only won 1 of 11 games in the National Premier Leagues against their crosstown counterparts. Of course, none of this would be possible without the sponsors. Brisbane City would like to thank Corporate Travel Management and Harcourt Solutions for their continued support of the National Premier League's Queensland team. Whereas Brisbane Strikers would like to thank Mecca Bar and Gorilla Sports for their continued support. Looks like the players are just about ready. Paul Eldridge and his Total Tools officiating team are in place. And we are underway. Adam Edgar getting things going, passing straight to Preston Hugo, who promptly passes it straight out. Not quite the start that City would be looking for. Nevertheless, they're looking to get themselves into this game pretty quickly, and they have done pretty well in the opening stages of games, City. They've started quickly and put their opponents under a fair amount of pressure. But it is in the second half that they've been scoring the majority of their goals. According to my statistics anyway. Here's Adam Edgar. He's made a huge difference to this Brisbane City side since coming in. He started 3 games. He scored 4 goals. It's a fine player to have. Be able to call upon. So just sails safely over the crossbar. And it will be Tomislav Mesaric who is between the sticks for Brisbane Strikers this afternoon. Nathan Archibald, former Charleston City Blues player, on the bench. There have been a few changes to this Brisbane Strikers side. Almost all enforced, as that's kept in pretty well by Trent Clulo. Forward towards the very dangerous and ever dangerous Zach Maltby. He's scored twice against Brisbane City already this season. Once in the National Premier Leagues in that 4-2 round 9 victory for the Perry Park side. Remarkable game that was. We had it, of course, on the live stream of Football Queensland cameras, and here is Zach Maltby. Plays a dangerous ball into the middle, and that's a brilliant start for Strikers. It was Braden Steele who scores just his 2nd goal of the season. And within 3 minutes of the kickoff, Brisbane Strikers have an early lead. Lovely ball across from Zach Maltby. He's saying he's scored in the National Premier Leagues. He's scored in the Silver Boot in the semi-final of that competition. That 1-0 victory. City feel like they've only just kicked off. Well, it's only been 2.5 minutes since they did, and they already face a 1-goal deficit here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. Excellent finish from Braden Steele under pressure. It's an opportunity now for James Mayer to run onto one. He can't quite keep it in. The former Brisbane Roar player. He's played 22 times for the Roar across a couple of seasons, a couple of very successful seasons. He won the championship twice and the premiership once with the Roar, before moving to quite an exotic collection of clubs over the next couple of years. Played for Poon in the I-League, Ulan in the Myanmar Premier League, in which he won the premiership, and Eastern at Hong Kong, where he also won the premiership. So well travelled and well rewarded. Will Strikers get another reward here early in this game? Zach Maltby twisting and turning on the edge of the penalty area. Maltby stands up. Tristan Hugo. Hugo does well to force him back. Be a throw-in for Brisbane City on this near side, and it'll be a shell-shocked Brisbane City. They conceded after just 2 minutes here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. The first attacking play of the game for Strikers. Brilliant start for the visitors, although getting a goal first in this fixture is not always a guarantee of success. In the 6 games in which both teams have scored in the National Premier League Queensland, you might have to bear with me for this stat, it's quite long-winded, but it does come into effect in this game, you'd feel. The 6 games that both teams have scored in the National Premier League Queensland, the team that opened the scoring has lost 4 of those games. So it's quite a frequent occurrence for teams to come from behind. It's a nice touch by Hugo to Meyer, directed it towards Edgar in the middle, but it's intercepted by the striker's defence. Striker's defence that's been short of Jack Stevens. He's off to college in the United States, and that player on the ball now, Stephen King, in the Brisbane City goal. He's also heading stateside in the next couple of weeks as Mesarich has a little fumble. That'll be noted with interest by Adam Edgar, 20-year-old Liverpudlian. He's been here a good 10 years in Australia. He'd return to United Kingdom as the winner of the Nike Academy project. Played in the Huddersfield Town setup over there and has played at the highest level in Australia as well, in youth football. Anyway, in the Newcastle Jets and Central Coast Mariners, so a very high quality player and a good get for Brisbane City late in the season. He's already proving very effective and scored 4 goals in his 3 starts. He could have had plenty more last week in the catch-up game against Gold Coast United. Sam Knight and Page is down that right-hand side. He'll be doing that all night. Just trots back into a more defensive position where he nominally is playing. Here's Hiroki Omori on the opposite side. Scored 2 goals in the last month as Hiroki Omori after going goalless for the first part of the season. So he's found his scoring boots, and that's a danger to strikers' opponents. Very dangerous player down the left, Omori. He's got a fierce left boot. And he can hit them pretty well with his right as well. Incredibly talented player, one of the best strikers have had since their NSL days. Of course, it's a battle between 2 former NSL clubs at opposite ends of the life cycle of that national competition in Australia. City were one of the inaugural members in 1977 and won the inaugural NSL Cup in 1977 and repeated the dose in 1978. It was a reunion of sorts, the 40th anniversary of that triumph in the beer garden down to our left and the clubhouse. And that has helped swell the crowd numbers here today, and it's a fairly healthy crowd in the grandstand. The Corporate Travel Management Stadium, and a whole lot more on the old boys deck to our left, but now Zach Maltby is attacking once again, causing all sorts of trouble down the left-hand side, but that was a wayward pass under significant pressure from Tom Alton and Tristan Hugo, and an opportunity perhaps for Brisbane City to attack, but it's overrun slightly by young Kai Fechner, 17 years old, getting his opportunity in the Brisbane City starting lineup, playing just his 4th game of the season. Here he is on the ball now, and he's a dangerous player. As strikers are finding out now. Passes it to his older brother, Alex. That's a dangerous ball across the face. Ever so close to getting on the end of it was Adam Edgar, and he has a little bit of a word as well with his opponents. He's prone to that a little bit, Adam Edgar. Trying to get under his opponent's skin, knows all the tricks. There's a bit of space now once more for Jake McLean. Goes wide to Clulo. Clulo's got a lot of space to deliver this cross, and Stephen King comfortably gathers. He's playing just his 3rd game for Brisbane City. Conceded just for 2 goals in his 2 appearances, both last week in that round 4 catch-up game against Gold Coast United, in which City won 5 goals to 2 at Robina Station Reserve, and almost there for Kai Fechner was that ball from Adam Edgar. And Adam Edgar spoke to the Brisbane City website after that game, saying it's the link-up play and coming back into those positions, just as he did then to Preston Hugo. That's what causes the damage. Would have been an audacious effort from James Meyer over on that far side, and then he asks quite a lot of Nathan Beagley, who was caught a bit flat-footed, it has to be said. Strikers will be allowed to clear. Halliday. It's a nice ball forward by Stewart, but didn't quite find its target, and Brock Messenger and Greg Hensley will be quite happy mopping those up all day. Paul Eldridge has given the free kick, and a little bit of frustration from the Strikers players, not least Giant Scotsman Greg Hensley, colossus at the back for Strikers for a number of years now. Formerly of Sunshine Coast and Peninsula Power as well. Now Football Queensland Premier League premiers. They'll be joining these two sides in the National Premier League's Queensland next season. Here's Angus. Amori. Clulo was shut down pretty well by Tristan Hugo, and Hugo's come up with the ball, but that was a little bit slack and a little bit of dallying by Tom Alton, and he's come unstuck. Here has Tom Alton. Here's Trent Clulo. Decent ball in to the middle, but it was very comfortably dealt with by former Eastern Suburbs keeper Stephen King. Here's Alton, wearing the captain's armband again. Still very young, playing his 31st game for Brisbane City in the National Premier League's Queensland tonight. Directs that ball to James Meyer, who just shakes his head a little. Nice idea as Nathan Beagley mops up, and it goes back to Stephen King, who could not be at fault for the first goal. It was a lovely cross by Zach Maltby from the left and fell right at the feet of Braden Steele. And just like that, 2 minutes into this National Premier League's Queensland clash, Brisbane Strikers took an early lead. A little bit untidy in the midfield, but that's excellent work by Jake McLean to mop things up. He scored against Brisbane City in that comeback victory at Perry Park in round 9. Greg King and Sam Sibatuara gave City a 2-0 half-time lead. That first goal from Greg King, a 55-yard lob of Nathan Archbold. Both Fechner boys linking up there, but Kai Fechner couldn't quite get the ball under his control. And now it's a lot of space all of a sudden for Braden Steele, and he really lashed that one just over the top. It's a nice shot. I'd like to think from a City perspective that Stephen King had that covered, but it was travelling at a rate of knots off the boot of Braden Steele, who did open the scoring. It's his second goal of the season. He's been banging them in for the under-20s though this season, 8 in 17 appearances for them. Been with Strikers a long time, has Braden Steele. Two youngsters there, Maltby and Tom Alton, just getting in a little bit of a tangle. Paul Eldridge will be shutting that down pretty quickly, you'd have thought. In the back from Nathan Beagley, but Paul Eldridge keeps his whistle in his pocket, and City will have a chance to attack now. Here's Kai Fechner, just the wrong side of him, you'd think, from Scott Halliday. But it's still a promising attacking position for Brisbane City. They'll take this throw in through Tristan Hugo. And 14 minutes into this game, it's Brisbane City trailing Brisbane Strikers by a goal to nil. Braden Steele getting the opener right on the second minute of the game. Melton heads that ball sensibly back inside to Scott Halliday, who goes back to Mark Stewart, who's playing his first game in a few weeks after returning from injury. Edgar dropping deep. Get a spell on the ball and then played that one a little bit too strong to Nathan Beagley, and then despite the best efforts of Preston Hugo, he couldn't quite keep it in. City will have to regroup and strikers will be able to restart things from the back. Here's Brock Messenger, former New Zealand under-20 international, and he's played that one past Japanese Hiroki Omori. A couple of words exchanged between the two. It doesn't matter for strikers, they come over the ball anyway, and an opportunity perhaps for Maltby to race onto one. It was cut out by Tom Alton. Boots were up there from Michael Angus and Scott Halliday. Here's Zach Maltby racing into the penalty area, stays on his feet, does well, goes down now, but it was of his own doing. The strikers do retain possession. Here's Palmer, wide to Clulo. Palmer picks it up again. Here's Clulo on the edge of the area still. Back to Palmer, just the two of them, but Kai Fechner does well to skip inside and steal that ball, and then Alex Fechner steals it off his younger brother, and now Adam Edgar. Kai Fechner's continued his run. It's a heavy ball from Adam Edgar, forces Kai Fechner wide, and he comes up against Brock Messenger. Bit of a physical mismatch there, but the cross comes in anyway, and then Adam Edgar slides in and took a little bit of Greg Hensley, I think, in the process. The two shake hands and play continues up the other end already. Cut out well by Mark Stewart. James Meyer dropping deep now. And Scott Halliday. City enjoying a good spell of possession here. Quarter of an hour gone at Corporate Travel Management Stadium as they look to find their way back into this game. They trail to a Braden Steele goal in the second minute. The first attack of the game. Here's Edgar. It's rather squeezed out of it. It's good defending from Greg Hensley and good awareness from Michael Angus to come back and just shut down that opportunity. It's a nice touch to Clulo. Strikers have numbers in the midfield. They're forced back and wide to Brock Messenger. Another former Sunshine Coast player in this strikers lineup. Here's McLean. Receives it back, plays it inside, but only as far as Scott Halliday. It's good attacking threat posed by the strikers in the yellow shirts. Adam Edgar's fighting a lone battle up front at the moment. It's a little bit too easy for Brisbane strikers to maintain possession. Here's Michael Angus looking to pull the strings and direct traffic, and he does so brilliantly. Here's a shot that comes in well over the top from Braden Steele. A shoot on sight policy perhaps from the youngster. It's only his first goal of the season. Last week against Cairns in the 2-0 victory up at Barlow Park. Helped secure Brisbane strikers their second victory in a row. That's a record City themselves are hoping to preserve. As they avenged their 5-3 defeat to Cairns at Perry Park. Of course, being a catch-up game last weekend. Why not everybody played? There was one game played from round 22 though. That was Redlands against Olympic. So the ball goes played in towards Kai Fechner. Good save from Meseric. It's followed up there. It's still there for Adam Edgar over the top. That's a good opportunity for Brisbane City. It was a good save first up from Tomislav Meseric. And I think Adam Edgar would have thought he would do better from that position. It's a tough angle. Ball was bouncing at an uncomfortable height, but all that contributed into the former Olympic man, hitting it over the crossbar. As I was saying, last Friday night, Olympic took on Redlands United and won 3-0 at the Cleveland Showgrounds. That was in preparation for their FFA Cup tie, an FFA Cup tie that really showed the National Premier League Queensland in a glowing light. Kai Fechner looked to shape to shoot, but then that ball was cut out by Trent Clulo. Still bobbling around is Brock Messenger. And Zach Maltby is brought down illegally, according to referee Paul Eldridge. So a couple of members of the crowd here in the main stand, the Gino Merlot stand at Corporate Travel Management Stadium, who disagreed with the decision. Doesn't matter, strikers have played on, but City have come up with the ball, and here is Preston Hugo inside to Edgar. Edgar skips away from one challenge. He's forced backwards though, and then plays that ball far too close to Hiroki Omori when Alex Fechner was a little bit further wide. He's looking to make up for his mistake though with Adam Edgar and putting Meseric under all sorts of pressure. Preston Hugo and James Meyer have conspired to come up with that ball. Here's Scott Halliday. Flicked acrobatically away by Sam Knight, and here come the strikers now in the yellow shirts, streaming forward. It's well cut out by Mark Stewart and goes all the way back to Stephen King. Just one result of the National Premier League Queensland games that have been played today, and Lions have run out 5-1 victors up on the range in Toowoomba. Half-time at Walter Park, and Moreton Bay are leading Sunshine Coast by 4-0. The other games have not yet kicked off in the National Premier League Queensland as another promising strikers attack breaks down, and Tristan Hugo is dallying on the ball a little bit. Has some support in Scott Halliday. Alton picks up the ball again. Hugo uses the ball to good effect, creates space, and then Alex Fechner has a bit of a battle on his hands against Hiroki Omori, who uses all his experience to get his body in the way, and now it's suddenly opened up for Jake McLean. He has clear space ahead of him. Can he find Zach Maltby? He might not need to find Zach Maltby. He tried to thread the ball through instead to Ryan Palmer, but it was well cut out by Mark Stewart. Another promising attack breaks down, but we're going to go up the other end now with Scott Halliday. Halliday goes wide to James Mayer. Mayer gets caught challenging Michael Angus, and Angus goes down. James Mayer is not particularly happy with that decision from our Total Tools referee Paul Eldridge. Here's another opportunity for strikers. Zach Maltby gets there ahead of Mark Stewart. But the pressure that the young defender put on the young striker was just enough that he couldn't quite get his shot away, and it didn't really trouble Stephen King. Here's Tristan Hugo. Back inside to Scott Halliday. Hugo switches across to Mark Stewart. Stewart crosses back across field to Alex Fechner. It falls for his brother Kai. Kai with the cross. Edgar's there. Preston Hugo rather got in his way. But Scott Halliday picks up the ball now, and here's another shot that comes in from Preston Hugo. It was watched all the way by Tomislav Meseric. And strikers will breathe a sigh of relief, because that was a costly error. It could have been a costly error coming out of defence. City were unable to make them pay, and they'll look to come again now, although not if Greg Hensley has anything to do with it. He'll launch another attack through Angus and Jake McLean. McLean goes wide to Clulo. Clulo is being offered plenty of space by Tristan Hugo. Angus to Clulo. Omori Slid from a long way out, did Alex Fechner, but he managed to get a piece of the ball and not his opponent at the cost of a throw-in only. Stewart gets there. It looked like there was all the time in the world for City to clear that ball, but it never quite works out like that. It's fallen for Sam Knight now. Here's Braden Steele. Steele goes back to Hensley. Strikers playing the ball around nicely. That's a lovely pass inside. It's cut out though. Steele looked like he was shaping to shoot. It's come back for Steele. Shot comes in anyway, and it has to be deflected wide. It was a lovely effort from Sam Knight cutting in onto his left foot. And Stephen King did well to get down low and save that one. If you are just joining us, Brisbane Strikers lead to a Braden Steele goal in the 3rd minute. I think it caught us all by surprise in these early stages. 25 minutes gone, it's Strikers once again on the attack. City haven't really had too many opportunities to get a goal of their own. Messenger jumps, Hensley with the head. And you can see what Michael Angus thought of that pass. Michael Angus and Hiroki Mori have played together for a number of years now. They know each other's little quirks. I think Hiroki Mori would have been surprised by that pass, and imagine that's what the conversation was. Messenger goes long. Zach Maltby's chasing it. Zach Maltby keeps it in. That's excellent work from the young Strikers star. Cuts across field, finds Michael Angus. This is going to use Sam Knight. The ball inside. Hiroki Mori on the overlap. It's pinballing around in the area. Oh, it's still there for Clulo. And Clulo should have done better there. Created space for himself brilliantly. And just puts it over the top. Jon Kosmina will be fairly alarmed at the way his side's defence are being cut open with consummate ease by Strikers players. Simple passes, finding their man. They're unable to do anything up the other end because they can't hold on to the ball. Here's Jake McLean. Plays it into Clulo. Clulo back inside. Mark Stewart with a desperate leg out. It's there for Braden Steele. It's cut out once more. Desperate defending from Brisbane City. Strikers will look to put the ball onto the edge of the area, and McLean dances past one, gets a shot away. It's blocked by Mark Stewart. And James Meyer trod on the ball. And Mark Stewart promptly puts that one into the creek behind the field here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. Preston Hugo down on his haunches there. We'll keep our eyes on that one for you. That pass forward by Greg Hensley comes to nothing. Approaching the half-hour mark, City need to get themselves back into this game. They have had a spell of possession that they've enjoyed in this first half, but it's come to nothing now. Could be trouble here. Tomislav Mesaric is very close to the edge of his penalty area there. And he exchanges a few words with James Meyer. James Meyer's got a head of steam on him, and he absolutely clatters Greg Hensley. You could see that one coming a mile off. Unfortunately for Greg Hensley, he couldn't because it came from behind him. And now, he sensed that James Meyer is just using the opportunity of the stoppage to perhaps have a conversation with our Total Tools refereeing team, personified by Paul Eldridge, as to what went on the edge of the penalty area of Tomislav Mesaric. Imagine James Meyer's asking about how close he was to the edge of the penalty area. It did look close. The linesman on this near side, Joey Lee. He's in a good position, as you'd expect. Flag didn't go up, and I didn't see him making a comment as Mezarich, perhaps a little bit flustered, kicks that one straight out, and City will have an opportunity to launch an attack from inside their attacking half. It's only young Tomislav Mezarich. That ball directed towards Edgar is intercepted by Michael Angus. Another City throw in. Tristan Hugo, 22-year-old, just directed back a little by Paul Eldridge. There was a late change to the refereeing team. Lauren James, who refereed the under-18s game, or started refereeing the under-18s game, was forced off injured midway through the first half in that one. Don't often see referees getting treated by the physios here at really any football codes, but they are pursuing an athletic endeavour, so it does happen. It is liable to happen, and that's what we saw. So there was a late replacement. That ball unfortunately goes out off Nathan Beagley, who chases back and tries to win that ball back and does so fairly. Here's an opportunity perhaps for Meyer, plays the ball into Edgar. Alex Fechner's arriving with a back post, but Edgar made a bit of a meal out of the cross, and it's an opportunity perhaps once again to see Zach Maltby's pace. He's so quick, Zach Maltby. It was that pace that cost City in the silver boot, the pre-season tournament here in Queensland. City lost that game 1-0 in the semi-final to Brisbane Strikers. It was all Zach Maltby's pace, and he showed it off again there. It's only the quick wits of Stephen King that stopped a chance from perhaps being fashioned. It's a nice idea from Ryan Palmer, but couldn't quite squeeze it through, and now that ball is launched forward. Brock Messenger's going to have a fair amount of time to deal with this. Edgar does get there belatedly, and then does he win the throw? Lee looked a little bit confused. Kai Fechner grabbed a clear scrunch of Hiroki Omori's shirt. It's getting a little bit untidy for Brisbane City midway through this first half, just over midway through this first half. Strikers will be enjoying this. It's Maltby again. It's well cut out though by Tom Alton, and Maltby engaging in a little bit of push and shove after the fact. Omori rides one challenge, has to deal with another from Scott Halliday. Looked to Paul Eldridge. How much space did Trent Clulo have there all of a sudden? Apologies, it wasn't Trent Clulo, it was Jake McLean. He had a lot of space on the edge of the penalty area. City leaving those gaps between the defence and midfield on the edge of the area, and it's cost them a couple of occasions in this first half, and could have done so again there. Tristan Hugo waits for a target, finds it in Scott Halliday. That's good movement from City. Kai Fechner rides a challenge, rides a second challenge. That's excellent work from Kai Fechner. Advantage being played by Paul Eldridge. Here's Nathan Beagley hoping to use that advantage to great effect. Alex Fechner's at the back post. It's helped out by Hiroki Omori. It will be a corner. And Adam Edgar just directing traffic a little at the back, just informing where he wants these balls played from the defence. Hasten a guess as to say he wants a little bit more to feet. That was working well in the first 15 minutes or so for City. Preston Hugo gives Paul Eldridge the "it wasn't me, sir." Goes in a real battle right in front of the keeper, and then that's really disappointing. The ball out on the full. Edgar finishes into the top corner just for the sake of things. It's a nice finish as well. City would have hoped that the whistle hadn't already gone from Paul Eldridge. But as it is, they trail by a goal to nil. Braden Steele in the 2nd minute. A glorious cross from Zach Maltby, and from that point on, there hasn't been too much goalmouth action. Stephen King in the City goal has had to make a couple of saves, and strikers have looked dangerous. Particularly that man there, Zach Maltby, putting Tristan Hugo under pressure. City forcing strikers back, a little bit of a miscontrol from Angus, precipitating that. I expect they can't keep the ball in, and Rokiamori will belatedly take the throw just 10 minutes before the half-time break. Nice intervention from Scott Halliday. Tristan Hugo tries to aim that forward towards where he hopes Adam Edgar is, but doesn't quite get there, and again it's a high ball, and I think Adam Edgar would prefer it to feet. That's what was working for Brisbane City, but they haven't been able to get in a position to play those balls along the deck. They're paying the price for a lack of possession in this first half. It's excellent work from Nathan Beagley to not concede a foul there, and now Kai Fechner tried to thread the needle to his brother Alex. And that's a good tackle from Michael Angus. It was a lovely block by Brock Messenger. He read it really, really well. Now strikers have come up the other end. Here's Hiroki Omori popping up in the middle. Lovely ball inside to Palmer, who had a lot of space, and maybe if he'd had a bit more time. That's a horrible error from King. He's racing back now. Can Braden Steele pop one over the top? He's dillied and dallied on the ball, but it's still falling for Trent Clulo. Golden opportunity for Brisbane strikers. And it's a horrible error from Stephen King, and fortunately for both him and Brisbane City, it didn't amount to anything. Good challenge there from Tristan Hugo after the heavy touch. Lovely ball by Kai Fechner towards his brother Alex once more. But that's lovely defence from Hiroki Omori. This game's built back up a little bit in the last 5-10 minutes or so. It's a ball inside. All the space and time in the world for Jake McLean to find Zach Maltby. Maltby racing into the penalty area, looks to shoot, skips past a couple of challenges, stays on his feet, does brilliantly to stay on his feet. That's a real credit to him because the challenges were flying in there. City hacked the ball away, but it's going to come straight back, you'd think. And the foul is conceded by Braden Steele. It was Preston Hugo who was manhandled to the deck. And James Meyer is continuing his conversation with Paul Eldridge. King goes wide to Alton. Now his heart will be hammering in his chest at the moment. Another frustrated little skip from Adam Edgar as that ball gets intercepted. Here's McLean now for strikers. Clulo back inside. Looks to go wide to Braden Steele, and was well cut out that time, and Steele couldn't quite get the ball under control, but another good opportunity, and all that space and time for the strikers to find their man in the penalty area and on the edge of the penalty area. Something that John Kosmina will want to change. Mark Stewart to his centre-back partner Tom Alton. Tristan Hugo back to Alton. That's a sloppy pass from Tom Alton. It was easily cut out and read by Zach Maltby. Here comes Trent Clulo now. Maltby's in the middle. Maltby's going to receive the ball. Mark Stewart does well though, and it falls to Kai Fechner, who gets a difficult one under control and then links up brilliantly with Preston Hugo. And now Kai Fechner goes. James Meyer's gone as well. Meyer in a real battle over there on that far side with Sam Knight. And Sam Knight had to be alert and had to do incredibly well to cut that ball off before James Meyer got a sniff of it, and he had more than a sniff of it. He was really up for that. chase, and excellent work from the striker's defence to snuff out that chance. Alton chooses safety first, under pressure from McLean. Receives the ball back from King. No real out balls for Tom Alton, and he doesn't want to play another long one. Chooses to offload and defer that responsibility to his keeper, King. Comes off the shoulder of Alex Fechner, who's cut a rather isolated figure at times. In this first half. And Hiroki Omori, ball goes out. Wasn't out by much. But out it was. Again, there's no real easy balls. It's excellent pressing defence from the strikers to cut down those channels. Oh, it's a lovely touch from Zach Maltby. He lays off Braden Steele, the goal scorer. Back to Zach Maltby. It doesn't come out from under his feet, but it was well stopped and well blocked by Tom Alton, who flung his body in the way of that ball. City once more live to fight another day. It's 5 minutes to go before the break. It's Brisbane City 0, Brisbane Strikers 1. Braden Steele with the goal, and it could have been 2 there had that ball fallen a little more favourably for Zach Maltby. He's been a real standout performer so far in this game. He won the Mecca Bar Man of the Match for Strikers in that 4-2 victory over City at Perry Park in round 9. Nice little flick from Meyer. Tom Alton is forced back to Stewart. City look rather bereft of ideas from the back. There's no outlet balls, and they're struggling to find a pass that will lead to anything other than the ball coming straight back towards them. Edgar skips past one challenge. That's better from City's perspective to Edgar's feet. Almost lets the ball run away from him there, but maintains possession. Toying with Trent Clulo almost. Edgar now delivers a through ball over the top to James Meyer. Meyer's going to come up with this one. Has Beagley in support. Beagley checks his run and wins a corner. That's a little bit better from Brisbane City, and it took Adam Edgar dropping back to effect that change in pace, and it'll be an in-swinging corner delivered by Alex Fechner, the 19-year-old. Last year's under-20s Players Player of the Year. He'll be the man to deliver this ball. Towards the head of Edgar. It's Messenger who gets in the way. Beagley's making a nuisance of himself on the edge of the area and then just lays the ball out to Trent Clulo, who's dispossessed. And here's an opportunity for Alex Fechner. Lovely ball into the middle. Adam Edgar was there waiting. It's a fantastic block by Greg Hensley. New balls, please. Creek has been the recipient of a number of our All Sport National Premier League's Queensland balls so far this evening. Alex Fechner. That one doesn't beat the first man in Trent Clulo and falls to Zach Maltby, who's on his own, but that won't bother him. It was well covered and well cut out by Scott Halliday. And now Tom Alton. As Tristan Hugo on this near side chooses to cut the ball back. Well, it's fallen quite fortuitously to Alex Fechner, who goes down heavily under the challenge of Hensley. And now an opportunity perhaps for Braden Steele once more. Has Maltby inside. Lays that ball off, is met by a strong challenge from Tom Alton. Strong but fair, says referee Paul Eldridge. Here's Hensley. Just a minute or so remaining of normal time in this first half. Can't imagine there'll be too much time added on as Preston Hugo comes up with the ball. Here's Adam Edgar. He likes it to feet and he liked that ball. And then Alex Fechner is having a disappointing evening so far, is young Alex Fechner. He's letting his frustrations get the better of him, and that was a pretty disappointing way for that move to end. Strikers will launch another attack of their own, although that was rather wasted by Trent Clulo. Good control by Tristan Hugo. Back inside to Scott Halliday, who has dropped a little deeper in the last few minutes or so, just to try and plug that gap between defence and midfield. It's another long diagonal ball towards James Mayer, who has switched sides with Alex Fechner. And to get a little bit more luck against Hiroki Omori than his young teammate did. Kai Fechner with the run. Past Angus. Tristan Hugo thinks better of that ball and then aims another rather aimless ball towards the edge of the penalty area, a bit too far away from anywhere Adam Edgar could make chase. And here's Steele, the goal scorer, cuts back inside. Look at that space again for Zach Maltby. That came off the foot of Clulo, back to Palmer, intentional or not. It's worked out for Brisbane Strikers. Here's Hiroki Omori. Clulo. Palmer. And McLean coughs up possession, and then Kai Fechner asks a little bit too much of James Myers' legs, and that's all we're going to have in this first half. It's been an impressive performance from Brisbane Strikers. They lead Brisbane City by a 1-0. It was in the second minute of the game. Braden Steele just arriving at the right time to meet Zach Maltby's low cross and put that ball past Stephen King, who's had to make a couple of saves from the Strikers, who've enjoyed the lion's share of possession. And plenty of work for the home side to do here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. It's Brisbane City 0, Brisbane Strikers 1. Hope you join us for the second half after these short messages.
Swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Football is my favourite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the perfect Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini Roos kickoff program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others. My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
we make lots of new friends. And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini Roos ambassadors.
Wow, it's Archie Thompson. He's a legend. And Steph Natley from the Westfield Matildas. She is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
We swear a lot at Total Tools. We swear by our range. We swear by our service. And of course, we swear by our prices. So you'll know that you're buying at the best price every day. Total Tools. Every tool, every trade.
I could watch them all day. Even though here, you don't feel like you need to. These are the moments I'll remember. You see, to me, it's not so much just having us all together, but finding a place that really brings us together. That's what makes Oaks Oasis special. When you only get a few chances, it's important to make them count. After all, memories don't make themselves.
Football is my favourite. I love playing it with my friends.
When I score a goal, I celebrate and dream of playing for the Caltex Socceroos.
And this is where it all starts, with the Aldi Mini-Roos kick-off program. I grab my shin pads, boot bag, drink bottle and bowl, then join my mates for some fun.
It's great. We learn new skills every week through games and activities. These help us learn about teamwork and respect for others. My mum cheers me on the sidelines. She loves watching me play. She likes it that football is such a safe sport.
But best of all,
We make lots of new friends.
And if we are lucky, we might run into the Aldi Mini-Roos ambassadors.
Wow, it's Archie Thompson, he's a legend. And Steph Matlick from the Westfield Matildas, she is amazing. Come and join Australia's biggest football program for kids. Come and join us.
Welcome back to Corporate Travel Management Stadium, where Brisbane Strikers lead their Northside rivals Brisbane City by a 1-0. Braden Steele was the man who got it in just the second minute of the game. It's just a strange lack of intensity amongst the Brisbane City side. It's really reflecting in the atmosphere around the ground. It's a decent sized crowd here for Old Boys, Old Girls Day here at Brisbane City, celebrating the 40th anniversary of the 1978 NSL triumph for City, but the subdued atmosphere amongst the home supporters as they see their side trailing by that 0-0. Strikers have found it so easy as Paul Eldridge gets us underway, and it's Strikers kicking from left to right. Well, they're going more backwards to our left in the yellow shirts with the blue sleeves. City in their traditional light blue. Strikers have had so much luck and have done so well in getting in behind and in between City's defence and midfield, and they almost did so there again. A free kick is the outcome of that play, and it's Jake McLean who's gone down, the 24-year-old from Blackburn in the UK. One of the more decorated players on the field. He won the Brisbane Premier League with Rochdale prior to the start of the National Premier Leagues. Won the NPL Premiership and Championship in 2013 with Olympic, and of course has won a couple of NPL Premierships with his current side, Strikers. He scored in round 9 in that 4-2 victory against City at Perry Park, and good opportunity here early for Strikers to get another on the board. It was headed clear by Tristan Hugo. It's come straight back though, headed back across the face. Greg Hensley was there waiting. It's fallen for Hiroki Omori, who stays on his feet under that challenge from Alex Fechner. Delivers a glorious cross. And City defending with their backs to the wall here in the early stages of this second half. Here's Omori again. Headed up and over the attacking players by Tom Alton, and City will breathe a sigh of relief as Adam Edgar gets ball up in the field. He coughs up possession though and looks to win it back straight away. Under pressure from Ryan Palmer. And Sam Knight goes forward towards Zach Maltby, apologies, who was called offside by our Total Tools assistant referee, Joseph Lee. Did mention in the first half that we had a late change as Lauren James, who was meant to be running the line on the opposite side for this game, went down injured in the under-18s match for Brisbane City, won 3-0 for those of you interested. Well, we didn't name her replacement. That's Anthony Riley, New Zealand referee. As Beagley puts that ball in onto the head of Kai Fechner, and we're back all square here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium. That's a glorious pass from Nathan Beagley, delicately chipped right onto the head of Kai Fechner, and that's his 3rd goal for Brisbane City in just his 4th senior game in the National Premier League's Queensland. And we had a goal within 3 minutes of the kickoff in the first half. We've had a goal within 3 minutes of the restart here. It's Brisbane City 1, Brisbane Strikers 1. Goal might inject a little bit of life into the crowd and into the playing performances of both sides. Tom Alton almost gets himself in a little bit of a muddle. Here's Zach Maltby. Strikers looking to strike straight back. Here's Braden still curling a little bit too far away. That was another good opportunity for Brisbane Strikers, and it's almost an exact replica of the first half. Strikers having to kick off within 3 minutes of restarting the game after a break, just as City did immediately following the first half. And if you're still in the queue for your pizza over in the clubhouse, you've just missed City's equalising goal. Here's Zach Maltby now, getting in behind. That's a lovely shot across the face. Stephen King was very comfortable in knowing where his post was. Either that or he's a sensational actor. He calmly watched that one trickle across the face. Again, the pace of Zach Maltby causing problems for Brisbane City, and John Cosmina's men will be wanting to snaffle those chances and stifle the opportunities that have been pro-offered to the Strikers youngster in these early stages of the second half and throughout the first half. Lovely turn by Braden Steele. Gets past Nathan Beagley, and now he's going past Preston Hugo as well, but two City men do conspire to get the ball away, and then that's a nasty lunge by Braden Steele, and Paul Eldridge might want to have a bit of a word, and he's in fact going to show Braden Steele a yellow card. A couple of the Strikers supporters not overly impressed with that decision. Did look like he was out of control though, Braden Steele. Bit reckless and a little bit uncomfortable for young Mark Stewart, who has only just returned from injury for City. This might force a little bit of a defensive reshuffle for City should John Cosmina be forced to go to his bench. He does have Paul Falso on the bench, who started in round one, sent off against Lions in that Derby Day defeat. Now has spent a fair period of time, 8 weeks in fact, out of the senior setup back in the under-20s, where he led the side on a sensational unbeaten run, City's youth team. And got back into the senior side and dropped back down to the under-20s. He's back in the senior squad now though, and he's learnt from his time away. As it looks like Mark Stewart will be able to continue while all that was taking place down at that far end of the field. Alex Fechner and James Meyer have switched wings once again, so Meyer is now on the right hand side and Alex Fechner is back on the left where they originally started. That's Tristan Hugo turning into a spot of bother there, and he's coughed up possession. Strikers looking to pounce on the mistake. Trent Clulo back inside to Jake McLean. It's opened up for McLean. It was hit straight into the body of Tom Alton. Now Palmer crabs his way across the field, and it took Preston Hugo to tidy up his older brother's mistake there and force the mistake from his opposite number. And City will now look to chip that ball ahead through Tom Alton towards Adam Edgar, who takes a touch back towards his own goal and skips past one challenge and plays a dangerous looking ball. Mark Stewart had to be alert, but did get there. Ahead of Braden Steele, and Stephen King will now launch the ball forward. It's full for Preston Hugo, and now Alex Fechner goes down, no foul. Still there though for Preston Hugo. Hugo goes wide to Beagley. Beagley off balance with the cross. It's still worth challenging though at the back post, but it was comfortably dealt with by Tomislav Meseric. Here come the Brisbane Strikers through Trent Clulo over on that far side. Now Hiroki Omori. Lots of space in the middle again for Jake McLean should the ball find its way through to him, but Tom Alton manhandles Hiroki Omori to the deck. Spoke about physical mismatches in relation to Alex Fechner and Brock Messenger. Well, there's another one of a slight figure of Hiroki Omori and tall hulking centre back, albeit a 19-year-old one in Tom Alton. Mori's challenged by James Meyer. Skips past one challenge. Meyer puts a challenge in, concedes a corner. Good opportunity for Brisbane Strikers. The tall men of Brock Messenger and Greg Hensley lumber forward. They always pose a threat at set pieces. Greg Hensley does have form in scoring important goals for strikers. It's aimed towards him at the back post. He gets there. He got in a bit of a tangle with Tom Alton. Tom Alton being taught a little bit of a lesson there from a player who has significant experience. Both at this level and overseas. He played in New Zealand. Stephen King had to chase back to get that ball. It's onto the head of Nathan Beagley. Actually chests it down. Mark Stewart gets it forward to Alex Fechner, who uses his chest to great effect, then turns into trouble in the form of Ryan Palmer. Jay McLean is bundled off it, and it finds its way all the way back to Stephen King. The crowd says it all. So that ball goes straight out from King. Now Preston Hugo concedes a throw-in off Ryan Palmer. Messenger has to race, and James Meyer is chasing hard. It was, in fact, Hiroki Omori who got that last touch, and it needed to be made because James Meyer had really built up a head of steam there, but now so has Hiroki Omori, although it's just run away from him, the ball. Over on that far side, that was a good opportunity. Strikers to launch something of a counter-attack, but good pressure and good chasing from James Meyer. 31-year-old is something of a leader for this very young Brisbane City side. It's a lovely touch from Adam Edgar, back inside to Preston Hugo. Here's Alex Fechner, cutting back inside, goes onto his left foot. Wins a corner off the sprawling figure of Sam Knight. It's good defence and good attacking play from Brisbane City. Lovely link up from Adam Edgar in the middle. And an opportunity now for Alex Fechner to deliver a dangerous cross into the middle. Hugo's making a real nuisance of himself around the goalkeeper. It's fallen for James Meyer, who got in a little bit of the way of Kai Fechner. The shot came in, comfortably dealt with though by Tomislav Mezeric. The strikers will want to take the pace out of this game. These two sides have shared 2 draws in the National Premier League Queensland in their history prior to this season. Both of those came 2 years ago. That City were the only team not to be beaten over the course of 2 matches, home and away, against strikers in that season. So they romped to their first of 2 consecutive premierships. Made the finals in 13 straight years. Have the strikers across the BPL and the NPL and the Queensland State League as well. So since 2005 have strikers been the preeminent force in Queensland football. It's fairly safe to say that that run might be ending this season, although a win here will keep the pressure on the sides ahead of them. Moreton Bay and Western Pride. Brisbane City, I'm almost certain it's only possible just about mathematically if results go their way, and I have a feeling that they haven't. I could be very wrong about that though, and it might already be impossible, and that might be one of the somewhat lacklustre aspects of this local derby in the first half, although City are showing a little bit more life now in this second half. They've drawn level thanks to a Kai Fechner goal, his 3rd in 4 games for City, but here comes Braden Steele, and Braden Steele lets fly. It's a really good save by Stephen King. The ball's actually stayed in over on that far side while everyone was slapping their backs and congratulating each other. Tristan Hugo picked up possession and launched it upfield where Adam Edgar has won a free kick. Again, big space now between attack and midfield, and it's taken a fair while for Scott Halliday to get himself up into a position to take this free kick. He has Tristan Hugo alongside him, but I say that Halliday will be putting this one into the mixer. Edgar has his hands up in the middle. It's over his head, but it falls for Nathan Beagley. Stretches a long leg out and stops the ball, but it's hacked away for an attacking throw-in for Brisbane City. Stewart puts the cross in, easily dealt with by Greg Hensley, and strikers will look to counter-attack now. It's good challenge from Scott Halliday, who looked towards referee Paul Eldridge, but no foul. Here's Clulo in plenty of space over on that far side. Clulo gets a cross inside, but Tristan Hugo was there to cut it out, and City will now counter-attack through Kai Fechner, who has a lot of space. And now so does James Meyer, and Meyer just gets dispossessed by Brock Messenger. Messenger had to time that tackle right, and he did so, but it's untidily dealt with by strikers, and City will come again through Tristan Hugo. That was a poor pass from Hugo. Kai Fechner unable to do much with it. And we've had 16 minutes in this second half. It remains all square. City 1. Brisbane Strikers 1. Braden Steele got the goal in the second minute of the first half. How about that from Braden Steele? And then tries for repeat dose on Mark Stewart, but Mark Stewart gets his body in the way, and then they do battle again, but Braden Steele comes up with it. Excellent work from the youngster. He plays it back to Palmer, and Palmer makes a real mess out of that. That was glorious from Braden Steele. He opened the scoring after just 2 minutes in this game. And then lit up the game with a delightful piece of skill that had almost everyone in the crowd, despite being predominantly pro-Brisbane City, gasping and cooing in admiration. Tom Alton uses his strength and wins a free kick. Insinuation that an elbow was thrown there. Zach Maltby gesturing towards Paul Eldridge. That's not how Paul Eldridge saw it. And now he's copping an earful from Michael Angus. Good-natured earful, judging by the grins on both protagonists' faces. Well, it might be a little bit harsh to call Paul Eldridge a protagonist. Oh, it's a nice, neat ball inside to Maltby, but it was cut out before it got to him, and James Mayer gets possession of the ball. He's closed down by Hiroki Omori, but passed the ball away to Preston Hugo. Now Alex Fechner forces Sam Knight to commit. That's a very, very heavy pass from the cross by Alex Fechner. In a promising attacking position, goes begging. City are showing a little bit more life, a lot more life in fact, in this second half. They've got themselves back into the game, and John Cosmina will be hoping that they will continue. Tom Alton hoping to go for the mark, jumping off Zach Maltby, it looked like, in that situation. Paul Eldridge alert to that. And here's Maltby again, dangling with Tom Alton. Tristan Hugo plays the ball across to the edge of his own penalty area, and Mark Stewart. Stewart to Fechner. Fechner gets above his opposite number in Sam Knight. Lovely work from Alex Fechner, and then he concedes a goal kick. Alex Fechner is appealing against it, but I think it came back off Greg Hensley before it went out. Give Paul Eldridge, referee, the benefit of the doubt in that one. It was a good decision, I think, from first looking at it. Strikers will use the opportunity to get their feet back on the ball and hope to play it out from the back, but they're under pressure almost immediately. A little skip from Alex Fechner-Vernes. That ball finds its way through to Sam Knight when it was oh so close to being intercepted. Here's Palmer. City cutting out again, and here comes Alex Fechner. He has a lot of space now. The gap's opening up in the strikers' defence. Lovely reverse pass through to Adam Edgar. Edgar shoots, it comes back off Hensley, and then it's a bit of miscontrol from Adam Edgar. We're going to see our first substitution of the afternoon from John Cosmina, and it'll be Sam Sibatuara, who I imagine will be replacing one of the wide men, either James Meyer or Alex Fechner. Fechner's looked a lot more lively in this second half. Preston Hugo. Kai Fechner through the middle. Hensley almost made a meal out of it. There's an appeal from Adam Edgar for handball. I don't think there was much in that. Looked like Hensley, after getting himself in a rather uncomfortable position, did very well with what he ended up with. Managed to chest the ball away. McLean back inside to Hiroki Omori. Hiroki Omori rather confused himself there with his fast feet. Ball still comes in though, but it was gathered by Stephen King before Braden Steele could get there. And now we're going to see two substitutions, and Seb Scaroni is going to be coming on for Brisbane Strikers when the ball does eventually go out of play. We haven't had a stoppage for a little while now. Both players are stripped and ready. And again, the ball will remain in play. The ball's been in play a fair amount in this game. It might sound like a silly thing to say, but has been allowed to flow, and both teams have enjoyed consistent spells of possession without the referee's whistle interfering. It's a credit to Paul Eldridge that that's been allowed to take place, although it hasn't been the most difficult of games to referee, it has to be said. City being forced back. Tristan Hugo to Tom Alton, and still in play. Brock Messenger forced back to his goalkeeper, Tomislav Nezaric. McLean onto the chest. Scott Halliday couldn't intercept, and then James Meyer wins the free kick. Sam Sibatuara has actually disappeared from the sideline, but he's being called back by Craig Gearson. Substitution has been made for Brisbane Strikers. It's Zach Maltby who's run himself into the ground. He won't get a hat-trick of goals against Brisbane City this season in different matches. He's replaced by fellow junior Seb Scaroni, and it is Alex Fechner who is coming off to be replaced by Sam Sibatuara, who is City's leading goal scorer this season with 13, but has gone 3 games without a goal, and that's the longest run he's had this season. In all 3 of those games he has been a substitute. Apologies, he's been a substitute in the last 2 of those. He missed a penalty against Redlands with the score at 2-0. That remarkable 5-5 draw at the Cleveland Showgrounds just over a month ago. Tomislav Nezaric watches the bounce. The ball bounced just into his hands. Almost misjudged it. Helped on by Beagley. Sawara getting himself up to the pace of the game almost immediately. Braden Steele went down under pressure from Nathan Beagley, who's pleading his case that should have been a Brisbane City throw-in. Matters not. Here is Hensley. Nice flick by Steele. He receives it back from Knight. Steele still in possession, goes all the way back to Greg Hensley. Steele receives it back, another little flick. He's got all the tricks as Braden Steele, and has the end product as well. He scored a goal, the opening goal in this game, but that ball was cut out well by Sam Sibatuara. That was his first touch, and he's enabled City to build once more from the back. It's over on the far side with Tristan Hugo. Rather aimless ball, but it might work out for Adam Edgar. It's a poor header by Brock Messenger. caught everybody by surprise, but here's an opportunity now for the strikers and Clulo. It's opening up for Clulo. Clulo through the legs of Nathan Beagley. Stephen King watched it well into his hands. And here is Beagley. Edgar. Beagley gets it back, the characteristic cry from Greg Hensley when making a tackle. It's nice work from Adam Edgar, threading that ball in between the Braden Steele and Greg Hensley sandwich to get it back to Nathan Beagley. Here's Sibatuara, wide to Tristan Hugo. Tom Alton. Crossfield ball from Alton towards Edgar. Edgar does get his head onto it. The flag is up over on that far side, and Anthony Riley, the substitute assistant referee, called into action, I think for the first time today. In an offside perspective anyway. He's a substitute in the sense that Lauren James was meant to be the assistant referee for this game, but she injured herself refereeing the under-18s match that preceded this here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium, so ruling herself out of the game. Don't often see referees getting treatment in the middle. That's what we were witness to in the first half of that under-18s game. Nice ball over the top towards Adam Edgar. Adam Edgar, that's a brilliant tackle from Greg Hensley, was it? He just did enough, I think. Lovely ball by Mark Stewart. And strikers a little bit rattled by Brisbane City midway through this second half. Coughing up the ball with a regularity that we didn't see in the first period. So, not as good a ball from Mark Stewart. It allows Brisbane strikers the opportunity, and had a couple of questionable offsides, or possible offsides in Queensland over the last couple of days, including the FFA Cup game. Perhaps, possibly. No comment. That was a wonderful game at Lions Stadium at Richlands on Wednesday. If you missed it, Lions ran out 3-2 winners, having led by 2-0. Here's a lovely opportunity for Sam Sibatuara. It's blocked exceptionally well by Sam Knight, I think it was, who got the final touch. And Sam Sibatuara just ghosting in between. Defenders, but now strikers will look to counter-attack, and here's an opportunity now over on that far side. Tom Alton with a little shove in the back. Sensible foul to give away. Here's Seb Scaroni. He's forced all the way back to Sam Knight. Scaroni had to ride that challenge. Knight goes back to Hensley. Sibatuara challenges Scaroni, but then Scaroni finds himself in a fair amount of space in between the midfield and the defence, but strikers can't quite get possession, and that's Sam Sibatuara riding a challenge from Sam Knight, who looked to clothesline Sam Sibatuara. Adam Edgar is offside, I think. Yes, the flag has gone up, but not before Adam Edgar was challenged by Tomislav Mezaric. This is the problem with leaving that flag down for quite so long, and I think Paul Eldridge actually blew the whistle before the flag went up from that far side. Allowing play to continue like that when it's clear that Edgar is trying to interfere with play or be a part of the action, per the ruling, the offside line. Allows those contact to be made, and Adam Edgar is limping away inside the Brisbane City attacking half as we watch Scott Halliday dispossess Ryan Palmer over on that far side. Here's Sam Sibatuara popping up over on the right-hand side now. Here's Edgar. Edgar goes down under the challenge of Scaroni. Edgar's still limping. Bruises on top of bruises. Limping his way back in to the midfield. City do have options on the bench in the form of Owen Thomas. From an attacking sense, that is. Scott Halliday. Rather central to get an angle. But get an angle he does. Cleared by Steele. It finds its way back to Scott Halliday in a more favourable position to deliver a ball cross-field. Headed in by Tristan Hugo, but it's cleared by strikers and an opportunity for a counter-attack. Jake McLean's in acres of space on this near side, but the ball doesn't get to him. Another little flick by Steele. Now Scaroni. Space again for Steele. Still uses that space, goes back to Scaroni. McLean, Hiroki Omori, flag stays down. It's hacked clear by Mark Stewart. Still there though, Stewart again with the header this time. Strikers will continue to build. Here's Scaroni. Hiroki Omori, back to Scaroni. Scaroni plays the ball inside. And now that ball is coughed up and Kai Fechner just puts it right into the feet of Brock Messenger, and Brisbane strikers will come again. Adam Edgar is not limping as much now, but didn't have the mobility that we'd perhaps expect in those situations. And Tom Alton, that ball's not going out, so he's forced back to King. Again, that ball intercepted. Strikers enjoying the same possession that they enjoyed in the second half of the first period of this match. Strikers do cough up possession now though, and it's James Meyer over on that far side with the throw. Kai Fechner, his pass doesn't find a man, but he gets it back, and now Scott Halliday. Beagley makes a run on this near side. Gets there eventually via Mark Stewart. Beagley, good cross into a dangerous area. Hensley clears. Halliday helps that one back to Mark Stewart, who uses the space in front of him. That's a good ball again. Hensley again there to head clear. Sibatuara jumps. And now it's going to be comfortably dealt with by Sam Knight, and strikers will build through Braden Steele. Knight. Now Sibatuara. Sibatuara goes down. Free kick. Nathan Beagley goes back to Tom Alton. Hurry up, the call from John Cosmina. Here's Meyer. Meyer goes down, free kick. Hiroki Omori turns away in disgust. Playing his 61st game for Brisbane strikers. It's Hiroki Omori. Now this is a dangerous opportunity for Brisbane City to put a ball in via Scott Halliday. It's a high looping one. Mezarich comes. He was hampered somewhat by his own man, but then the return ball by Tristan Hugo is much more comfortably dealt with by the young keeper, and he launches that ball out wide to Hiroki Omori, who links up with Seb Scaroni. Now a bit too far ahead of Ryan Palmer to be any real threat. City look to make another substitution. It'll be Jamie Dimitrov who is coming on. Again, once play breaks down and goes out. It's not a particularly cold night, but there is a bit of a chill in the air. Here's McLean. Again, has a lot of space to operate on in the outside of the penalty area, just on the edge of City's penalty area. It's been like that all night for the visitors. Hosts leaving lots of gaps, and a corner is the end result. All the big men come forward. Scaroni's lurking on the edge of the penalty. It's aimed towards Brock Messenger, but Stephen King comes and comfortably gathers and launches that one first time upfield. Sibatuara get there? No, he won't. But the chase is on by James Meyer. Palmer is the beneficiary of that. pass. He goes back to Hensley. Hensley to Michael Angus, who gets a little bit of a kick, but is allowed to continue. Messenger back inside to Angus. Angus has a lot of space, as does Ryan Palmer, as indeed does Sam Knight on this near side. That's a dangerous cross into the middle. Braden Steele's there, still there with Braden Steele. The free kick is given, and then it's cut out by Clulo, who certainly wasn't the required 10 yards away. We're going to see that substitution now, and it's Preston Hugo who's withdrawn in place of Jamie Dimitrov, a former Australian youth international. Played 10 times for the under-16s and 14 times for the under-17s. 19-year-old from Los Angeles. Moved to Cairns, linked up with the QAS in 2013, the AIS in Canberra for a couple of years before moving overseas to his native United States. And he played for a couple of seasons in the Seattle Sounders too for the United Soccer League. He's back now here at Brisbane City in his adopted home state. Sibatuara challenges Hiroki Amori. Amori forced back inside. Angus lets it run to Hensley, and now Angus lets the ball do the work, links up brilliantly with Clulo. This is a lovely attacking move from Brisbane strikers. It was blocked pretty well by Tom Alton. There was an optimistic cry of handball. I say optimistic, it was hard to see from our angle here in the grandstand at Corporate Travel Management Stadium, but that was a brilliant attacking move right up the guts from strikers. City leaving themselves open to that kind of attack. Now the corner is played short to McLean. Now it's delivered in, but off the head of Stewart. Dimitrov gets his head on that, but it's played around him. Steele, lots of space for Hensley. Hensley with the cross. It's normally him getting on the end of them. At that time, Ryan Palmer was the recipient, and he couldn't add to his 4 goals that he's scored so far this season. One of which, of course, came in that 4-2 victory for strikers against City. Into the final 10 minutes here. Brisbane City 1, Brisbane Strikers 1. Braden Steele opened the scoring in the 2nd minute. Kai Fechner pulled the hosts back level 2 minutes into the second half, and other than that, it's been slim pickings. We're going to see a substitution for Brisbane City. Owen Thomas is the man who will be brought on. Oh, that's a nice ball. It's caught Mark Stewart rather flat-footed, but he's recovered well, and Jake McLean can't get on the end of it, but he's going to pop up with the ball right now on this near side. Lots of space for Scaroni. Steele is forced back, and then Jamie Dimitrov. Free kick is eventually given, and this led to some cries of consternation. Some calls for a card. I don't quite think that's necessary. Paul Eldridge allowed play to continue for quite a long time. And Brisbane City will wait before introducing Owen Thomas. He's just scored the 1 goal this season against South West Queensland Thunder a few weeks ago. Ball is delivered in by Clulo to the head of Hensley. Amori hits it back in. It's headed back clear by Halliday. Now Angus gets involved. Clulo closed down by Sibatuara. Now Sibatuara does get a foot to it, but it still falls for Clulo, who rides the challenge. Back inside to McLean, who can't gain possession, and Sibatuara this time does regain it for Brisbane City. It's coughed right back up, but Sibatuara is there to capitalise on the poor touch from Michael Angus, and here's Jamie Dimitrov, the substitute. And the substitute is hacked down by Sam Knight. That looked perhaps more spectacular than it was. James Meyer is the man who is being withdrawn. Makes his way off the field, and he'll be replaced by Owen Thomas. Owen Thomas will be hoping to profit from this particular set play, which Jamie Dimitrov will take. Headed clear by Angus, and Hiroki Mori has been harassed and harried by Kai Fechner, but he gets the ball upfield to Ryan Palmer. Palmer back inside. Jake McLean has space and time on this near side. He has Clulo in support, doesn't use him, cuts back inside again. Dimitrov is squared up. Owen Thomas gets there, makes a nuisance of himself. It's picked up by Hiroki Omori. It's gone back to McLean. Still to Omori. A little bit heavy towards Angus, and then Angus is dispossessed by Jamie Dimitrov, who concedes the free kick. And then Michael Angus picks a fight with the youngest player on the field. The 28-year-old having an argument with a man 11 years his junior. Having a fair discussion with Paul Eldridge. There's been a fair bit of chat between the Strikers captain and our Total Tools refereeing team throughout this game. A couple of decisions haven't gone his way. And now Michael Anglis is hoping for a more sympathetic ear from Adam Edgar. That's a decent ball. So taken off the head of Greg Hensley, and then the follow-up header was comfortably gathered by King. Sibatuara can't quite gain control of that ball, and Angus hopes to profit. Owen Thomas chasing down, is cut out by Sam Knight, but Thomas barges through him. There's Beagley. Beagley once more. Sibatuara inside to Halliday. Halliday back to Sibatuara. Sibatuara has Kai Fechner wide. Fechner back inside to Owen Thomas. Owen Thomas steps on the ball. It's come back to Jamie Dimitrov though. City still have possession. Adam Edgar. Dimitrov. And it is just a throw-in, not a corner. What an opportunity that was for Brisbane City to perhaps take all 3 points. We're going to see another substitution. Josh Matcham is going to be brought on in place of the enterprising Ryan Palmer. It's been good today as Ryan Palmer. A lot of the strikers have been. He's called upon to act defensively straight away, although he's just lurking on the edge of the penalty area to shadow Tristan Hugo. Long throw comes in. It's fallen for Scott Halliday, has it? He couldn't get it under control. Just a little bit closer, and the first time shot might have been on, but as it is, strikers will come away from it. That's a bit of a hack from Nathan Beagley. Pulled out of the challenge. That's probably why there was no card. Owen Thomas tries to link up with Kai Fechner. City in possession now, although strikers have come away with it. First touch for Matcham. Here he is once more. Going with fellow substitute Seb Scaroni. Here's Angus. Scaroni. Lovely ball wide to Sam Knight. Sam Knight gets across him before the ball goes over the byline. Strikers maintain possession. Here's Scaroni. Clulo. Sibatuara challenging. Sibatuara does just enough to put Clulo off balance. Adam Edgar. Lovely control from Adam Edgar under serious pressure from both Michael Angus and Greg Hensley. Here's Adam Edgar. This is a glorious run back inside, and that's brilliant, brilliant tackle by Brock Messenger. What a vital challenge that was. It's a sensational run from Adam Edgar. Rode a couple of challenges, streamed away from Greg Hensley. What a challenge by Brock Messenger. Owen Thomas has missed one good opportunity. I doubt he would have made the same mistake twice. Makes that intervention from Messenger all the more important. Ball comes in, it's fallen in the penalty area. It's there for Sibatuara. Is there a handball? It took a deflection off a Brisbane striker and goes out for a corner. Seconds ticking away now. We are in stoppage time. Can Brisbane City score a dramatic late winner here at Corporate Travel Management Stadium? Dimitrov with the high ball towards the back post. Still there for Scott Halliday. Scott Halliday races into the penalty area. Messenger again. It's hammered back inside by Tristan Hugo, and then Sam Sibatuara can't quite get that ball under control, and Brisbane strikers will look to get the ball upfield as quickly as possible. It's a silly error to give away from Jamie Dimitrov. Sam Knight knows what he's doing in taking the time. Mazarich launches this ball forward. It's fallen for Scott Halliday though. It's Kai Fechner. Tristan Hugo, that's far too heavy a ball from Tristan Hugo. Beagley gets his head onto that one. Dimitrov and Sibatuara linking up. It's a decent ball, but Mark Stewart gets there. Just ahead of Trent Clulo. Throw-in's taken quickly by Sam Knight. It's fallen across for Braden Steele. We were right behind that one and looked for a moment, but it was just going to nestle into the top corner. And it kept on going and going and going. And we have had nearly 2 minutes of stoppage time. You'd say, as a conservative estimate, that there would be 3 added on by our Total Tools referee, Paul Eldridge. Whistle stays away from the mouth at the moment. Halliday flicks that one up towards Kai Fechner. It's off his head, but it's going to be comfortable for Tomislav Mezarich. A little bit of a push there from Matcham, not spotted by the referee, and then Matcham flicks that ball through to Hiroki Omori. There's 3 strikers on the edge of the penalty area, 4th arriving. Nathan Beagley cuts that ball out before it could get to Seb Scaroni. Here he is now though. Sam Knight flicks that one in. It's headed clear by Tom Alton. Now Kai Fechner, but Owen Thomas can't get on to the end of that one. Here's Sam Knight. 6 of one, half dozen of the other, but the flag eventually goes up against Nathan Beagley. And challenging his opposite number, Trent Clulo. There are plenty of calls from the strikers' supporters in the grandstands. But that was a foul. Looked fairly even until Beagley wrapped the arms around, but a good opportunity here for the Brisbane strikers. Here's Clulo. Oh, it's flapped out a little by King. It's going to fall all the way across to Matcham. Matcham is squared up by Owen Thomas. Corner given. Trent Clulo hairs across the park to take this one. We're into the 4th minute, well into the 4th minute of stoppage time. High towards Brock Messenger. Messenger does get his head on it. Braden Steele makes a meal out of it. And that's all we're going to see from Paul Eldridge. And a result that probably doesn't do either side any favours in their optimistic race for 4th spot. It's the 3rd draw. It's the 4th draw that Brisbane City have achieved this season. Just Brisbane strikers 2nd, and it's probably a fair reflection on an relatively even game, but Brisbane strikers did dominate in terms of possession for long periods, but Brisbane City did have a couple of opportunities, none better than when Owen Thomas stood on the ball with the goal begging. And then that vital intervention from New Zealand under-20 international Brock Messenger right at the death to deny what would have been a tap-in for Owen Thomas once again after a sensational run from Adam Edgar. Plenty more National Premier League Queensland action to come in this round of 32 FFA Cup period, as it shall probably be known. Of course, Brisbane Roar will be playing in the FFA Cup against Melbourne City at Dolphin Stadium on the 7th of August. Tickets still available at brisbaneroar.com.au. Check out all the action from all the Football Queensland competitions. That's footballqueensland.com.au. We'll bring you some other results and scores from around the grounds. In the 5 o'clock kickoff, South West Queensland Thunder lost by 5-1 against Lions up in Toowoomba. It's full time at Walter Park. Moreton Bay United running out 6-1 victors over Sunshine Coast. Gold Coast United are a man and a goal down at half time at Robina to the Western Pride. And it's 0-0 in the other games. Magpies Crusaders against Cairns in the Northern Derby, and the Brisbane Roar Youth against North Queensland United. Thank you very much for joining me, Simon Smell, in this National Premier League's Queensland Round 22 clash. It's been a real pleasure to bring you all the action on behalf of Football Queensland and Double Take. It has been a Double Take production. And we hope you'll join us next weekend for all the action in the National Premier League's Queensland, the Football Queensland Premier League, and the National Premier League's women's matches. Check at Football QLD and the Football Queensland website for all the action and where the games will be taking place from. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. I hope to see you with us next time on the Football Queensland live stream. Thank you very much. Good evening.